So, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to our video of Saturn in the 7th house as your Atmakaraka. As in, what happens when Saturn sits in the 7th house as the Atmakaraka. And as always, if you do not know, if you have this particular position, what sign it's in, what nakshatra it's in, along with all your astrological details, check out the links here, astrology.com, where you'll find my books, reports, consultations, and link to my academy, Maghavedic Astrology Academy, where I'm currently teaching marriage timing, everything about marriage. Okay. So, Saturn is in the 7th house as the Atmakaraka. Okay. And this is probably one of the quintessential most important placement of Saturn as the Atmakaraka. Okay. Because as we know, Saturn has been known to be exalted in the 7th house in Libra, right? But we don't know what your sign might be. But then what did the rishis do? They say Saturn not only gets exalted in the 7th house, but it gets its directional strength in the 7th house. Okay? So what is directional strength? The person is able to find support and direction towards their path and destination. You don't have to become a vagabond for majority of your life in order to gain something. You know the path that has to be taken. There is direction in your life. When there's no direction, somebody somehow comes in and gives you direction. So that's directional strength. Now, why is it that Saturn has been given directional strength and exaltation in the 7th house? Because this is very important for the Atmakaraka. What is the significance of Saturn? Saturn is a servant, right? Somebody who takes care of your home, your needs. You're a government servant. You're serving the government. They want you to do something, you have to do it. That means Saturn, or our Rishi is saying, Saturn's main purpose to exist, or let's just say its highest purpose to exist, is to serve the marriage and to procreate. Okay, is to serve the marriage and to procreate. Because Saturn, especially if you see, it gets exalted right around 90 degrees of Swati Nakshatra, which is also the junction between Swati, the breath, and Agni, the fire of Indra. Okay. So, this is a particular Saturn shows that it's here to give prana. And you get prana by help of another person. When two people meet, okay, Shiva and Shakti becomes active. And Saturn is naturally the significance of Shiva. And why is it children? Because remember, when Saturn is in the 7th house with this full directional strength, what is the desire of the 7th house? And now the desire of Shani is children. And this is why if you see romance, which is the 5th house, romance gives a result of what? Like you're putting your efforts into romance, and now that effort is showing what? Okay, well, we did a great job in romance. Let's get married. And then if you see Saturn being in the 7th house, what is Saturn outputting? I got married. So now what's happening? My marriage is going to be making my bhagya, making my luck. This is why marriage is actually important, which I have even shown in one of the first 2 videos of marriage course on my academy. Why you shouldn't be influenced by influencers telling you to be single, telling you to hate men, telling you to hate women. You don't need this, you don't need that. No, it's the activation of your dharma. Even when somebody has a bad marriage, somehow they have now activated dharma, where perhaps that bad marriage was the reason behind you now following some spiritual path. So you should thank that bad spouse that gave misery into your life. Now again, if I ask that bad spouse, tell me about your ex-spouse, they will say something about you too. So don't think you're always innocent. See, whenever people get readings from me, oh, my ex-wife or ex-husband, they did this, they did that. Okay, fine, whatever. They did that. How do I know? I'm going to know what I see in the chart. And if I talk to that other person, they're going to also tell me that this person did this and this and this. So it's not like only innocent people come to astrologers. I catch it actually. I catch it very easily. That what was the reason behind the divorce. I don't say anything. But whatever they're saying, I'm like, that's not the full story. So now the Atmakaraka, the biggest responsibility for you is to serve the marriage. You are here to be a servant in the marriage. Take it or leave it. That is how it's supposed to be. And usually when the Atmakaraka is in the 7th, I mean, this is one of those very, very strong placements that, hey, you are to get married. Why? Because you're supposed to serve. And when you serve, you find your direction, number one. You find your prana rises when you get married. A person will feel alive, whether through misery of the marriage or whether through the bed of roses of the marriage. But then most importantly, why is it that Saturn in the 7th house, when you get married, suddenly the work and the bhagya of the work becomes active? Because whatever effort you're putting, the third aspect of Saturn is in the 9th house. Okay. So Atmakaraka, if Saturn is not the Atmakaraka in the 7th house, one may even have, responsibility of the marriage. But the Atmakaraka is saying that forget everything else in your life. Serving the marriage, number one. Serving the enemy, number two. And serving the society, number three. This is where your entire life will be revolving. You are this. Well, you're not this. If you really want to look at the Atmakaraka, that would be the sun. But what the Chara Atmakaraka shows is that what is the mission of that soul, of sun? What is the unfinished duties that you must finish? And how easy or hard those duties will be, you should see the relationship between Sun and Saturn. If Sun and Saturn are in a 6-8 relationship, you will leave many stones untouched. You will have a hard time finishing and taking on responsibility of things. Okay. But when it's the highest, you serve. You can't show arrogance. Even if you have Sun in the 7th, even if you have Rahu in the 7th, you got Mars in the 7th. I'm here to serve. What do you need? That's it. That's all you're here to say. What do you need? Whether you like it or not. And if you're suffering from this particular placement, great. Perfect. I love it. You know why? Because now you are on your way on paying a karma which is 10 times more intense than any other karma in your life. Why? Because the 7th house is 10th from the 10th. This is why. So once this is finished, and this is why it's important to not just watch astrology video to understand the game of birth and rebirth. Until you get it in your consciousness that, you know what, there's something lie ahead. See, you don't have one life. Your 65,000 life equals to one life. Soul just simply jumps from one area to another, one chapter to another, but that book is not finished. Okay? That book is still going. The book finishes once that soul just finds the Paramatma. So these are the lessons. Now again, don't think that, okay, I'm painting this pessimistic picture. No. Saturn here, like I told you, rewind this video, rewind. I haven't used that word in a while. Okay? Like I said, Saturn is going to find full direction in this house. It's prana in this house. It's bhagya in this house. Okay? Now, in terms of marriage timing, late marriage, early marriage, that's not the purpose of the Atmakaraka here. Okay? Saturn can give you early marriage or late marriage, both. You have to see the 3rd house. Is the 3rd house allowing an early marriage? What is 7th from Jupiter? That may allow you to get an early marriage. Okay, versus a late marriage. But Saturn usually gives a normal timing marriage between 18 to 30 or 28 to 34. And this is actually now normal. Who do you know has gotten married at the age of 21, 18, 19? Very rarely do I get that. Okay. And especially with Atmakaraka Saturn, you will also see responsibility of the father and mother will be there. One way or the other, either their responsibility or responsibility of their assets. Something will be there. And not only that, this is why I said this is so important. You yourself have to be responsible for your well-being. Nobody else is going to be there. You have to be there. You have to self-care. That's what Saturn is showing. Go do self-care. You will see, like with this particular Shani, one should always pamper themselves, get massages, work out, especially yoga. Yoga here strengthens Saturn. I don't know about any other planet unless your Venus is with Ketu Mars or Venus Rahu Mars. That would be another thing. But here, what is yoga? Yoga is the ability to neutralize the breath. That's all why you're doing yoga. Is to lower your breathing rate from 18 to 4, 5. Sounds impossible. But that's what you're here to do. And you will see that if you serve the marriage correctly, you will notice that no matter what you're serving the marriage, what do you need? Right? That's the statement. What do you need? You will see the breath will all begin to slowly neutralize where even both nostrils are even. Your breathing improves. Okay. So that is the main purpose of this Atmakaraka. And one thing I do see though, that the person does tend to not have the best relationship with the in-laws, or in-laws are such hard-working individuals that they're not able to give you that time and respect that you need. Because there's a missing aspect of Saturn that people don't realize. Maybe you'll get it with this particular statement that I just made. Okay. So this is my analysis of Saturn in the 7th house as your Atmakaraka. Remember, my marriage course is now active, so you can join and it'll go on. I don't know if it's going to go on for 4 months, 5 months, 6 months. Just going to take my sweet little time. Okay? Talk to you later. Bye-bye.